Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite _UK. Sign up to analyze failures together and learn how to get back on your feet.
3 consecutive losses are not easy to accept for any major national team. But what has made me think even more deeply is the way these defeats have exposed the gaps in England's squad. The loss to Scotland, followed by Ireland, and especially the historic defeat against Italy, were not just numbers on the scoreboard. It felt like a series of psychological shocks, forcing the entire team to confront difficult questions about resilience, experience, and the ability to handle pressure. From my personal perspective, elite sports are never only about technique or tactics. They are also about the capacity to endure failure. When a top team falls into a losing streak, the most important thing is not the criticism from outsiders but how the players reflect on themselves. I clearly sense that, in England's case, the issue is not limited to a specific match but lies in the imbalance between experience and youth. Veteran players should have been the emotional backbone of the team. They are the ones who have gone through many major tournaments and understand the pressure of wearing the national jersey.
But when experienced players do not perform at their peak, that gap immediately becomes a burden for the younger players. I think this is a very difficult situation, because young players, still in the early stages of their international careers, have never experienced a true crisis. This reminds me of a reality in sports. Victories can easily boost confidence, but only failure truly teaches growth. England's young players may have been accustomed to winning, or at least favourable periods. But this year's tournament has acted as a strong wake-up call. It forced them to face the harsh side of the sport they love. I particularly noted the opinion that many young players do not yet fully understand the significance of needing to win at all costs in crucial matches. This is not merely criticism but a question about life experience. An athlete may be highly talented, but without facing real adversity, they cannot fully understand the feeling of having to fight until the very end. Reflecting on the challenging youth of some senior players, I realize that off-field experiences often play a major role in building competitive resilience.
Someone who has faced tough challenges in life will have a different perspective on failure. For them, losing a match is not the end of the world, it is just an obstacle to overcome. Conversely, an athlete who grows up in an overly safe environment may struggle when first confronted with real pressure. I do not see this as the fault of young players. Each generation grows up under different circumstances. But clearly, these differences can affect how they respond to failure. I have thought a lot about TikTok videos of some young players after the win against New Zealand. I do not believe that celebrating or showing joy on social media is wrong. Today's generation of athletes lives in a digital era where social media is part of life. Players from earlier generations often matured in harsher environments. They were used to proving themselves every day and facing harsh criticism from the media. This created a kind of psychological thick skin. When criticized or defeated, they could endure and respond more strongly.
Meanwhile, today's young players may be more protected. They have better training systems, more professional environments, and stronger psychological support. But sometimes, that very protection leaves them unprepared for major shocks. I think this is an interesting paradox of modern sports. We create better conditions for athletes, yet we also need to ensure they develop the resilience they need. The match against France, therefore, becomes a very special challenge for England. It is not just a tournament game but also an opportunity for the team to prove that they can rise after setbacks. I believe that sometimes a team only truly matures after going through a crisis. England also teaches many lessons to fans. In sports, we often praise victory and criticize failure. But the reality is that every team, no matter how strong, will face difficult periods. What matters is how they respond to those periods. I think fans also need to be more patient with young squads.
Growth does not happen overnight. Players experiencing failure today may become the solid pillars of the team in the future. In any field, we encounter times when things do not go as planned. Such failures can sometimes shake our confidence or make us doubt ourselves. But if we look at them positively, they are opportunities to learn and grow. I realize that the most important thing is not to avoid failure but to learn how to rise after it. Someone who has never faced hardship may be strong when everything goes smoothly. But true strength only emerges when facing real challenges. For England, this difficult period could be a turning point. It forces young players to mature faster, pushes experienced players to reclaim their leadership roles, and compels the entire squad to re-evaluate their identity on the pitch. For me personally, in sports as in life, there is no path made entirely of victories. What matters is the attitude when confronted with failure. And sometimes, it is the toughest periods that forge the strongest teams.
Today's failure, tomorrow's strength. Thank you for following Scrum Masters Elite _UK.